Welcome back to another Drag Race Quick Bite. I'm Jack, and it is Endgame, baby. After roughly 4 months, this season is finally in its last couple episodes, and it's kind of bittersweet because though it's been running for so long, I'm gonna miss all of the girls so much. I know that people like to get on season 13 and season 14 being like they're way longer seasons and we don't need all of this, but you know, the girls are getting paid and you can't really complain about that. So yeah, is it kind of crazy that by episode 10 on season 8 we had a winner, but on season 14 we had a top 8? Undeniably so, but you know what season 14 has that season 8 doesn't? A finale cast song, baby. Finale cast songs and just songs in general on Drag Race are so smart by the showrunners to do. Songs are easily accessible and people often come back to them, so why shouldn't the show do it when it's basically free promo for everyone a part of it? The showrunners get the streaming numbers, it's free promo for RuPaul's albums, and obviously the queens profit off of them too. It's just a win-win-win. Though it's a win-win-win, to say the songs are all of equal quality and people come back to all of them equally would not be fair. Some of the songs over the years have stood the test of time and are some of the most iconic moments of the franchise, while others, I can name the names, and you'd probably forget that they even happened. So today, I'm going to give you what I think are the best and the worst of the finale song challenges. And note, before I get comments, these are different than mid-season songs because it's the final challenge before the top 4, top 3, finale. If you're still confused, UK Hun is a mid-season song, while A Little Bit of Love is a finale song. Hope that makes sense, but before I get into it, only a small portion of you guys are subscribed, so if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. I'm so close to 30k, which is insane because I only hit 20k like less than a month ago, so you guys have been amazing with the sub growth, and if we can keep going, that would be wonderful. Also, yada yada yada, comment and like for algorithm's sake, yeah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get into it. To save your time, to save my time, and not be secretive about something that's very obvious, Kitty Girl, Ready Wrote You, and Category Is are all some of the best songs of the franchise. I know, it's shocking. These were the first 3 that came out, and they all, I mean, like, a way to set the bar so high. There's a lot of things on Drag Race that fans have rose-colored glasses for, but when you go back and just objectively listen to these songs, they are still very high quality. There are 5 things that I tend to look for in a Drag Race song, that being tone of song, mixing, verses, how they sample RuPaul, and can I listen to it out of the show's context. The last one's kind of hard to reach for some of them, but all 3 of these just hit the mark so great. I'll be honest, I like a way lighter tone of song, something that brings energy and fun and like caps off a season in a positive way. The only exception is Reggie Wrote You. Songs that have a little extra oomph to them when it comes to like the characterization of what the performance should be like, those are always harder and come out a little worse because the queens don't really come into the season as lyricists. I'll get into more examples later, but for now, imagine the Reggie Wrote You girls not being able to embody the power it took for make that song to be as successful as it was. AKA, they all were just performing like Roxy. Obviously, Roxy's verse is iconic now, but when you listen to it in the context of the song and with the 3 other girls' verses in mind, it's not as powerful as the other verses. The other queens come in with more confidence and power, like, ooh, I am that bitch, while Roxy's more flirty with it, which could work for a different song, but this is just where the problem comes in with songs like this. It's just harder for queens to put on a character on top of their lyrics being a powerful bad bitch or a super queen, so it leads to a distracting or unmemorable performance a lot of the time. It's just easier for queens to be tasked with writing a verse about themselves rather than trying to rope it into a theme. So that's why some of my personal favorites are Category Is and Kitty Girl, because they're just upbeat songs that are fun and the girls just write about themselves and that's that. The next big thing that all of these songs do really well is the mixing of the song. I cannot tell you how frustrated I get that the mixing on the show is getting worse every year. That might be a little hyperbolic of me to say, but there's definitely a decline in quality of mixing over the past couple of seasons, which is insane because they had it down for a while and then randomly it just got worse. If you don't really know what mixing is, you basically mix all of the different products of a song together to make a coherent song. Basically, what you need to know for Drag Race is the vocals and the background music, and the vocals sometimes fall into the background and then you can't really hear the queens. That's where a lot of the songs on this list will falter. I literally just cannot hear or understand the queens until I look up the lyrics, and you shouldn't need to do that. I cannot tell you how disappointing it is to be so excited for a finale song, the cap off to the season, and then you just listen to it and it's like, oh my god, this sounds so bad. It's no shade to the mixers because I feel like they have a really small turnaround time to get the product out there, but I feel like WoW or the showrunners should probably give them more time to make sure the songs actually sound listenable. I don't know how much money streaming will get them, but making a quality song that people would want to come back to and continue to stream months or years past the season is probably more marketable than making a song that people will forget because they can't understand the people on the song. The next trait is a given, the verses. If they're really good, I'll probably go back and listen to it just for the verses, or if they're really bad, it's out of sight, out of mind. With the verses, I either want to pick out one or two that are so iconic that it's like that makes the song for me, or have all the verses and the song be so consistently great that I want to come back to the song. Reggie Rochu in category is obviously occupy the first category, while Kitty Girl occupies the second. The fourth trait is kind of an interesting one. It's just how they use the RuPaul sample. Is it a good sample right off the bat? Because if it is, I probably won't care as much how it's used, but if it's a bad sample, I'm gonna be so annoyed with it at the end if it's used really redundantly. Something like Kitty Girl is catchy, it's upbeat, it's fun, so I don't really care hearing the same chorus over and over again. But something like Reggie Rochu, they had to kind of give variation, because if it was the same thing over and over and over again, then we would probably be a little tired of it. And finally, can I listen to it outside of the show's context? This one's also pretty straightforward. There's only a few songs that I really go back and listen to unless I'm really in a Drag Race mood, but those songs are, chef's kiss. Is there an unnecessary breakdown at the end? Is there a breakdown in the middle that I would need to skip through? Like, these are just like little random things that are entertaining to the show, but not for an actual listen in like a car or something. Okay, we got all of the rules out of the way. I just wanted to use these three songs as the examples of what is amazing, because we all know they're amazing, and I don't need to repeat that for you guys. So let's get into some more great ones and some ones that literally, oh my god, I can't do it. Because I mentioned it earlier, let's go to one that a lot of people don't really like. Super Queen was kind of seen as the turning point for Drag Race songs, where the quality was not always up to par with the past songs. Personally, I don't hate Super Queen, but a lot of people really do dislike it, and I understand why. It's also tied to one of the most infamous finales in all of Drag Race, so that's probably not helping their memory of it. To me, I think it's pretty good because they switched up the style a lot, added more guitar and drums. That was kind of fun, and it was just a lot more, galactic, like a Super Queen would be. But then we come back to the whole idea of theming, and yes, that's where it falls flat for me. It added the extra element of talking about a super queen and proving that you're a super queen, so they had to write lyrics around that and not really talk about themselves that much, or only allude to themselves, and that's where it loses a lot of people. The mixing is still on point, so you can't complain about that, and the verses are not great, but Monet and Mo sound amazing. And for the RuPaul sample, I think it's pretty repetitive. They tried to add some variation in there with Naomi's bridge, I think. I don't even think it's a bridge. It's just like they slow down that part of the song, but then it's straight into the chorus like 3 or 4 more times, and it loses me. After a couple years and a lot of hindsight, I don't think this song is that bad. It's probably like a pretty decent tier, but the bar was just set so high for it, and I don't think it could have ever reached it. Just going from 3 really upbeat songs to a somber sounding song was not really expected, and people kind of took that as, oh, it's bad, but I don't really think it's that awful. There's just that extra added challenge of writing about a super queen, which is so vague, and that's how we ended up with a very mixed product. So let's get into another really good example. Lucky from season 13 is so fun. Just like Kitty Girl, I think that the RuPaul chorus was just, oh my god, like you really can't go wrong with it. The girls could have said anything on their verses and I wouldn't care. It's one of the most energetic songs that they've done. They have horns in there. I love some horns. Oh, it's so great. The mixing on the song is really good, which could be kind of concerning because of the horns that were in there, but they kind of worked their way around that, thank God. Gottmik's verse on the song is the best. I go back to it all the time. And Simone and Candy are very good compliments to them, but I think Gottmik is just the star of the show. The RuPaul sample is a little redundant, but again, it's so catchy that I find myself not really caring and just enjoying and singing along. I will admit this song is on my Spotify Wrapped for 2021, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It's upbeat, it was catchy, there was a lot of flexibility to write basically whatever you wanted. That's just the perfect thing for a RuPaul song. So moving on to the next one that I don't think is that great, we have Clapback. Talk about a disappointment, oh my god. I was so insanely hyped for the song because we literally just saw all 3 girls perform songs for their talent show that they wrote, and then we got this. Again, we go back to the theme of the song being clap back, so they have to write about clapping back rather than writing about themselves, so it's just a little harder right off the bat. I don't think the verses are that bad, but what we see with a lot of RuPaul songs nowadays that I forgot to mention is the length of them is so short now. They get around 15 seconds and then they're done. And then it's just RuPaul, clap back. No matter how much you can cram into a verse, it's just gonna come off as either rushed or just not have enough there. And that's no fault to the girls, it's the fault to the production who's not giving them more time. The verses were just over before they started, and it's so disappointing, and it doesn't help that the mixing fucking sucked. This is the one where I started to notice that the mixing was getting really off. The girls were getting swallowed by the beat. Every time the drums came in, you just couldn't understand them. It was the worst with Shay, and that kills me to say because, she really, really slayed Category Is. But here it felt like she was going for something more seductive and powerful, but quiet powerful. But it was hard to focus on the performance because I was too busy trying to listen to the lyrics and I just couldn't decipher it.
Better be careful how you talk to me. There's a mistake that I'm the queen. Falling on you, don't want me to come for you. Ask your homegirl, cause she got dragged too.
And then we get the RuPaul sample, which is the absolute same for every single chorus. I don't think it's the worst chorus, but when there's no variation and then you have a breakdown and then you go straight back into the same chorus. If you can't tell, I don't really come back to the song that often. Another one that just came out recently that I'm so excited to talk about is Living My Life in London. Again, I'm a sucker for those upbeat songs, and this one is so upbeat, and though it has the extra context of needing to write about your country, it makes sense because it is UK versus the world, and I think all of the girls did a great job because they knew what they had to write about. It's not vague, they knew what they were talking about because it's where they live, so it was really fun. Obviously, my favorite verse has to go to Mo. That is one of my favorite verses of all time. But even then, all of the other girls did really, really good too. I won't complain about mixing because they had to take hours to fix Janie's vocal. I'm just kidding. The mixing was okay. The RuPaul sample had a lot of variation and it was fun from the start, so obviously I'm going to enjoy it more. It's just overall a really fun product and a really good tribute to where all of these queens came from. This one's definitely going to be on my Spotify Wrap for this year, and I'm worried to see how high it's going to get. I'm so happy that this song is the best song that came out of UK versus the world. I am so sorry, Blue. To keep the video from getting too redundant, the last one that I'm going to talk about that is not my favorite is I'm a Winner Baby. Hello gorgeous, wow, don't you look stunning. We've been through a lot, us girls, and Karen's verse alone justifies me putting it on here, but let's get into some other things too. There were two really good verses on the song, of course being Scarlett and Karen, I'm just kidding, being Kita and Art, and then the other two, they were not good. Scarlett's wasn't awful, but she literally repeated lines from Queens Down Under, from 3 episodes ago or something. How do you already do that? And again, Karen was literally just talking and it didn't go with the beat or anything. Oh my god, it gives me a headache to listen to. Kita's had a really sweet message and kind of went with the vibe of the song, and obviously Art just did the best, everyone knows this. The mixing was good. There's that, the mixing is really good. I'm really just failing to find things to say about it. It's just so painfully forgettable that every time it's brought up, I'm hurt. And it doesn't help that I think the 2 Queens Down Under songs are some of the best mid-season songs of the franchise, so if I'm gonna come back and listen to a Down Under song, it's gonna be those 2. I also just don't really like the RuPaul chorus. I mean, we've listened to it so many times over the years, and then you finally use it in a song, and it really just sounds like stock footage. That's really how I would describe the song. It's like stock audio. At least Art had a really good verse that can get remixed into a lot of other things. And finally, without a doubt, better than Category Is, better than Reggie Rochu, I think that the best finale remix of all of the franchise is You Wear It Well from Canada Season 1. I'm so excited to talk about this. You Wear It Well is so catchy, it's so easy to listen to, it is so fun, it is the perfect cap off to a season. All 3 girls killed it. Oh my god, let's get into it. It's an upbeat song with a little bit of theming, but still enough flexibility for the girls to write whatever they want basically. And all 3 of the queens' verses are some of the best of the entire show. They're all really referential of what happened in the season. They really speak to each of the queens as individuals, and they are all just battle cries and prove why each of them could have won. They ride the beat so well that if you told me they were working on this for months and this was their own original song, I would believe you. The verses are so long and it gives the girls so much time to play around, and they all have this like breakdown in the middle, but the breakdown is not the same for any of them, so you know, it doesn't get repetitive. Speaking of not getting repetitive, the RuPaul chorus is switched up with every verse, which is so smart. It really keeps the song sounding so fresh. When a verse to a finale song justifies why a girl should win the whole show, you know that it's good. When you get 3 in the same song, that song just has to be the best of the entire franchise. Please go listen to it if you haven't. Even if you haven't seen the season, it's just catchy, it's fun, it's just so easy to listen to. It's been on my Spotify Wrapped for the past 2 years, and it'll probably make this one too because I'm still so obsessed with it. I cannot think of a better song. Unless we get a better song tonight, because Catwalk comes out and I'm so excited to listen to it. And the actual song that RuPaul put out of Catwalk, that song is so good. RuPaul did not need to go that hard with that song. So I'm gonna go watch the episode and tell you my thoughts right after this. I really don't know how to feel. I don't think there was a standout verse, but I think that the song of Catwalk just doesn't allow for that. It's like a more vibey song and like you kind of just listen to it and have a good time. And I don't really think that there could be a verse that is like, oh my god, this is it. So I catch myself liking the song for what it is because I just really like the song Catwalk by RuPaul, but I don't think it's one of the best songs that we've seen on the show. There's all the elements for it to be a really good song, but I'm just gonna have to see if I come back to it or if it gets lost to the test of time. As for the actual episode, I liked it. I think semifinals can be kind of hit or miss with how they structure things and how they do everything, but this was a very standard, like, quality episode. I think there were just like a lot of problems with the episode being a little too blatant with how they were setting things up, and then they didn't even set up the correct person to win. But you know, I'm glad that Lady Camden got another win, but then, okay, so let me get into it. It felt like they were going to give the win to Daya, like a one last ditch effort of being like, she clawed her way to the top and now she is on the top of the top winning the last challenge. But then they gave it to Lady, who I think was also a deserving winner. It just, they didn't edit it that way. And then we also get points over the episode where every single girl is in the confessionals being like, oh my god, we're all so strong, guys. I don't know who's gonna make it to the end. And with hindsight of the lip sync, it's like, of course they were trying to set this up. They were training us to think, oh my god, this is gonna be a brutal cut. And I thought, yeah, it's gonna be pretty brutal. Any of these girls can make it, like they were saying. And then they just didn't go along with it, which I'm fine with, but it's like, god fucking damn it. Just another double save right at the end. That's so funny. And then we have the bottom 2 being set up so obviously, like, Angie's just like my favorite. Willow's gotten me through this competition, and then like you see them in the music video both messing up slightly. You're like, well, that's the bottom 2. Like, there's no way around it. And it was a little blatant, but it's still good TV. I'm going to make a separate video justifying each queen to win the season, but as of right now, it's a top 5 going into the actual finale, which is crazy. The biggest like group of girls that we've had ever. I'm excited to see it, and it's just going to be a crazy finale. I really hope they don't do lip sync for the crown, but I think they are. With all that out of the way, this finale song was pretty good. We'll see if it gets better over time. I think it could be a slow burn of a song, but aside from that, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, blah, 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 YouTuber stuff. The Raja video is back in the works. I have an idea for it, and I think that rewriting the script, it's hard to explain without you guys knowing what's going on, so maybe I'll make an update video, but I really, really want this video to be amazing. I'm going to post some more quick bites, some more personal videos, maybe a different deep dive before the Raja one comes out, depending on everything that's working out. Join my Discord. There's a lot of announcements and conversations going on there. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I'll see you guys soon with another video.